look back at the final launch of the Delta IV Heavy on the NROL-70 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office. We are now T minus 10 minutes, 30 seconds in counting to lift off the Falcon 9 rocket here. Fueling continues to move along well. Want to thank one of our channel members, Josh King, for being channel member at the Path Leader level for now 18 months. Really appreciate you being with us all that time, Josh. Always good to see you. Noting it's been quite a journey. Yes, it's amazing what happens over the span of 18 months, nearly 2 years. Quite a long time. We appreciate you being with us for that period. Look forward to the next 18 months. Speaking of looking forward to the next 9 minutes and some change before we can see this Falcon fly. Let's take a look ahead at the timeline for what will happen after liftoff and the milestones that we can expect. Following that point, coming up in T minus 9 minutes and 30 seconds counting, Falcon 9 rocket will pass through max Q, or the point of greatest aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle, at T plus 1 minute and 12 seconds. That'll be followed by a few different events in fairly rapid succession. First will be first stage mid-engine cutoff, or MECO, at T plus 2 minutes 31 seconds. That'll be followed by stage separation at T plus 2 minutes 34 seconds. And then second stage engine start, or SES1, at T plus 2 minutes and 41 seconds. After that, the payload fairings will be jettisoned just a little after 3 minutes into flight, followed by the first stage entry burn ignition. That burn lasting 21 seconds, beginning at about T plus 6 minutes and 15 seconds. That'll set up for the first stage landing burn ignition coming up at T plus 57, or excuse me, 7 minutes, 57 seconds. And the first stage booster, tail number 1083 in the SpaceX fleet, should touch down on the drone ship, just read the instructions, at about T plus 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Then Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage will cease firing at about 8 3/4 minutes into the flight. The upper stage will then go into a parking orbit and continue on in that coast phase until T plus 54 minutes, 16 seconds. There'll be a brief 2-second burn, setting up Starlink satellite deployment at T plus 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 25 seconds. And we're now just about 30 seconds or so away from the chill down sequence for the 9 Merlin 1D engines. So you can hear some birds chattering in the background. Also, impatiently waiting for this Falcon 9 rocket to launch as well, I'm sure. We're now T minus 5 minutes, 46 seconds and counting. I want to thank channel member Josh King for a very generous $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Josh. Really appreciate that. Coming up with a Starliner question asking, once Starliner does launch, how long will it take to reach the ISS? Depends on the day, but currently they're targeting liftoff on the 6th. That'll be at 10:34 p.m. Eastern, 02:34 UTC. That'll set up a docking on May 8th. If for some reason, though, Starliner does slip beyond that, we will have to update you with new arrival time. Coming into the strong back retract sequence in the next several seconds here.
Thanks for pressing for strong back retract.
As you hear that call out now from SpaceX. The process will begin with the clamp arms opening up and the transporter erector reclining away about 1.5 degrees away from the Falcon 9 rocket. Stays in that position until liftoff. And a good morning to you, Smooth Juice, coming in with a 5-pound super chat. Really appreciate that support.
Strong back retract has started.
I hear that call out. You see the clamp arms opening up just beneath the payload fairings there. Just a little over 3 minutes away now from planned liftoff. Should be wrapping up LOX load on the Falcon 9 first stage momentarily.
Stage 1 LOX load complete.
There you hear that call out. The last of the fueling milestones we're waiting on now is stage 2 LOX load wrapping up. That point will conclude fueling on this Falcon 9 ahead of its liftoff. Want to quickly thank channel member Nelson Reyes for a very generous $20 super chat. Thank you, Nelson, who says, thank you, Will, and the Spaceflight Now crew. Thanks to Gary Haynes for gifting 5 Spaceflight Now memberships. Really appreciate that, Gary. If you're one of our new channel members, be sure to thank Gary in the live chat. And enjoy watching this and all of our Cape-based launches in 4K. Less than 2 minutes to flight now. Thanks also to G-Dog for a $5 super chat.
Stage 2 LOX load complete.
Sending greetings from Maine. And with that call for stage 2 LOX load complete, the Falcon 9 now fully fueled with 1 million pounds of propellant. The venting you're seeing here are the ground gas closeouts ahead of liftoff coming up just a little over a minute from now.
Ground gas closeouts.
We're now less than a minute from planned liftoff. Should be hearing the SpaceX launch director make their call that they are go for launch in the
Falcon
next
9 is in startup.
several seconds.
Go for launch.
And there you have it. We are go for launch. 30 seconds coming up. "15 seconds. And here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Engine ignition and liftoff of the Falcon 9 rocket on the Starlink 6-48 mission. Falcon 9 has cleared the tower. A beautiful ascent of a Falcon 9 rocket, kicking off our Wednesday morning. About 30 seconds into flight. Now a little over a minute into this mission. Falcon 9 now supersonic, traveling faster than the speed of sound. Passing through max Q shortly. There's a call for max Q, point of greatest aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. Coming up next will be those events in fairly rapid succession in the next minute or so. First will be first stage main engine cutoff for MECO, T plus 2 minutes 31 seconds, followed a few seconds thereafter by stage separation. Then second stage engine start, SES1, and then fairing deployment a little after 3 minutes to flight. That call you just heard from SpaceX, they are thermally conditioning the Merlin vacuum engine, preparing for its ignition. And a little over 2 minutes into flight. And some beautiful tracking this evening. Cruising in between the clouds, you're seeing some views from our friend Pete Carson's right now from Max Q Productions. Coming up on MECO in the next about 5 seconds. There you see MECO Stage separation. And SES-1. Nice view of Florida. And the Falcon 9 second stage there just before that engine ignition. Payload fairings should be jettisoning right now. And there you see them falling away in P. Carson's view, reflecting the glow of the Merlin vacuum engine. And there you see that view on the SpaceX feed on the right-hand side of your screen. Those Starlink satellites now exposed to the vacuum of space for the first time on this mission. A little bit of a jellyfish effect here as the Falcon 9 upper stage continues to cruise by. See some stars in the distance. Coming up on the 4th minute into flight here. Now T plus 4 minutes, 38 seconds and counting. Interesting that we're not getting views anymore of the Falcon 9 first stage from the onboard cameras that we're normally accustomed to seeing. It may just be a glitch with the camera system. Could just also be that the camera itself is obscured by darkness. A little bit hard to tell at this point. A little more than 5 minutes into flight now. In less than a minute, the first stage entry burn will begin. There we go. You see the inside of the Falcon 9 first stage. Depending on the cloud cover where Pete is, we may be able to catch part of the entry burn, given the cumulus clouds that have been hanging around and kind of smoked us a little bit for the Delta IV Heavy launch. It may or may not be visible here, but the big box right now are taking a look at the tracker view here of the press site. That is the upper stage of the Falcon 9 rocket. That view that you see there on the onboard camera views on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
You see the start of that entry burn on the SpaceX feed. So conditions not ideal to catch it tonight from on ground cameras. Fortunately, we do have views from the SpaceX booster.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Now a little more than 7 minutes into flight. We're less than a minute away from the start of the first stage landing burn beginning. Worth noting, you're seeing the views on both sides of the Falcon 9 upper stage where you see that view toggle back and forth. SpaceX Vice President of Falcon Launch Vehicles, John Edwards,
Stage 1
explained
transonic.
what that process is. In a response to a question on X from last month, he noted that they're trying to keep an eye on both sides of the engine, quote, in case any issues develop in flight, such as nozzle streaking, which are hot or cold spots that are caused by non-uniform turbine exhaust distribution. So if you're ever curious why they toggle the views back and forth, that is why.
Stage 1 landing burn.
You see the landing burn now underway.
Stage
You
2
should
is in
get
terminal guidance.
views from the drone ship on the right-hand side of your screen momentarily.
Landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And with that, we have a good touchdown of the SpaceX first stage booster B1083, having lifted off and landed for now a second time.